Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. It's your only friend, these YouTube streets, Porter Rock 77. I'm coming back at you with another hot take. Today on YouTube, I had two different topics I wanted to cover, but I let the audience, I let you guys decide. One topic was me focusing on the conversation of AAAs and how I felt that this could potentially be a big move for Sony. Pretty much Sony swinging for the fences, or is this something that could potentially fail? My other thought about hot take is the recent Colin Moriarty discussion about doom and gloom about PlayStation, PS5, and how he felt. And I'm thinking, man, these are two big topics, but you know what? Let the audience decide. And I'm impressed. Majority of you voted for the AAA. I think most of us gamers, PlayStation gamers, don't find much merit in the doom and gloom because for the most part it doesn't make sense. So we're talking about AAAs. We're talking about the stuff that's really important, that when you buy a PlayStation 5 console and you're expecting what things come to the gen, the conversations that are happening, you're wondering what's going on, you want different opinions, different views. I'm just going to give you my take and my view of what I think is going on. But before we get into it, you're probably looking at the screen like Kobe system, Kanye West, Kobe Bryant Nike commercial. What the hell's going on? Well, there's this thing like when you teach a class or you give a lecture or something. One of a good way to get into it is to give something called the gain attention. Usually you try to get a gain attention depending on the audience, whatever. Maybe something that relates to the topic. Try to be humorous about it, a little joke, but something that gets gain attention and leads to the topic. And when I thought about this AAA topic, and how I was formulating and how I was going to discuss it with you guys, this commercial popped into my head. So let's play this commercial real quick. Most of you probably already know it. For some of you don't, but just pay attention to the commercial. It's pretty funny, but still pay attention to the conversation that's being had, even though it's kind of weird, but humorous. But anyway, you'll see where it's going, right? Let's go check it out.
How much more do you want from me?
More.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
What the f is he talking about?
All right, so you saw that, right? It's pretty humorous, right? But just like what it said, how much more records can I sell? More records. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, all right. Come on, man. Stop ruining my flow. All right. Anyway, but like he said, how many records I could sell? More records. How much better I could be. He just elevated it. Do more. But I'm the best. But are you a different animal and the same beast? Right? While the commercial's comedic, it ties into what Sony's trying to do, right? PlayStation 4 by far dominated this gen in almost every aspect, right? It even dominated in the very area Xbox, Microsoft created, which was Xbox Live subscription plan, paying for online. PlayStation even dominated in that. There was really nothing Microsoft or Xbox brand did for the 8th generation of gaming, right? It was just literally nothing. PlayStation 4 just took it all in spades, dunked on them, dabbed, whatever. It was a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, right? But new CEO comes in, Jim Ryan 2019. And what's his expectation? What is his vision? What is he trying to do? Well, like Kanye, the question is, I'm already selling a lot of records. What am I supposed to do? And Jim Ryan's like, well, we're going to sell more records, but we're the best, So how is Sony going to accomplish this, right? Well, we seen telltale signs almost 2 years ago from this article. Sony's PS5 strategy aimed to please hardcore gamers, focus on exclusives and big publishers. So this is already almost 2 years into the making on this strategy, right? And there was another one right here. In July of 2019, Sony CEO, the PS5 will prioritize AAA games over indie games. So you got to ask yourself, why is the push for AAAs? What is Jim Ryan trying to do, right? Right? And he's trying to do exactly what Kobe wants him to do. Do more. Sell more records, right? And you know what's funny? That's exactly what he said to everybody. Sony wants to move PS4 players to PS5 at a scale and pace that we never delivered on before. More records. But I'm the best. But are you a different animal? And the same beast. You know, and at first I'm thinking, man, Kobe Bryant is bugging, right? That doesn't even make sense. And even Kanye's like, what the F you talking about, Kobe Bryant? And then I realized, wait a minute. If you really, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. You know, maybe I took something that meant as a joke and now I'm trying to rationalize it. But when you think about it, right? When the environments change, right? And you got a different, you know, layout. Let's say like you're in the jungle, right? Who's the king of the jungle, right? The lion, right? The lion is the king of, you know, traditionally, right? Please, if you're into animals and you're a specialist, please don't tell me, oh no, it's the blah 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 blah. You know, I'm just going by general accepted terms, right? But would a lion be king in the Arctic region? No, because I think that's where the polar bears, you know, domain reigns, right? They're the kings of that region, right? So when you change environments, right, you got to be a different animal. You gotta do something different, right? Get better, stronger, bigger, faster, whatever. But you're still gonna have that beast mentality. You're gonna be the one that you're the beast of that area, of that environment. You're the top dog, right? Well, in this case, Jim Ryan wants to move PlayStation 5 at a faster pace. He wants people to be like, hey, you gotta get a PS5. You gotta get it. Stop messing around with that PS4. Let it go. Move on. Get that PS5 today. And the truth is, AAA's does that. Indies don't. We all got to be honest. Indies don't move consoles like big AAA's, right? Sony, nobody is going to make a train, you know, like take, for example, Spider-Man and the train station, right? I mean, they literally had a train in New York City just was dedicated to Spider-Man. You're not going to do that for Gravity Rush 3. You're not going to do that. It's just how it is. Right? You might not even do that for AAA games that are AAA, but not that super big in sales and whatever, right? You're going to do those things for the big blockbuster titles, right? Another example was God of War, where they had it like in the NBA Finals at the Golden State Arena, where the Golden State Warriors play. It's just big blockbuster titles, right? Because those type of titles, they do more than just provide amazing content. You know, big blockbuster games for the audience, where you'd be like, man, I got a PlayStation, I got this big title, and I'm playing it. But what it does is it also attracts the people that don't have the PlayStation console, right? An indie game, a single A or double A game, right? Smaller projects, those games, you know, if it's good, will appease the people that are already there, right? That already have the console, that bought the console, and be like, hey, this is a cool game, I like it. Hey, this is dope. Hey, this is good stuff, man. Yeah, PlayStation is a great console. But then that's all it's ever going to do. You know, it's only going to appease those that already have the console, right? While a big AAA title will still appease the people that have the console, but it will also attract people who don't have the console. And that's what you need for this, right? So the more titles you focus on, the more AAA big blockbuster titles that you release, is more news, more media coverage. You know, I mean, look at Twitter alone, right? How often do you see, you know, fans do the in-game screenshots, you know, photo mode for a smaller indie game as compared to a big blockbuster title, right? Pretty much most of us probably seen, whether you like the game or not, on your timeline, you probably seen more photo mode pictures of Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, The Last of Us 2, God of War, more fan art on those games than you have on Gravity Rush. or Resogun, you know, or some other smaller title, right? When you compare the two, you probably see a lot more movement and traffic of fans talking about, showing, paintings, writing music, making videos, you know, cosplay, just big movements on the big titles and all that stuff, right? You probably see more cosplay of Alloy than you did of the chick from Gravity Rush. You know what I'm saying? Those type of titles move platforms, move consoles, right? So I think that's what Sony wants. If this is the play, right, to move PS4 players to PS5 at a scale and pace that we never delivered on, then there's only one way to do that. It's the games. It's the big blockbuster games, you know. Not taking anything away from the AA, single A's, and indies, right? But big AAA, big blockbuster AAAs are the prime movers. Those are the games that get the biggest budgeting, the biggest attraction. They attract the most casuals, right? That's just how it is. House Marquee. This is what came into my thought. This was mentioned in Twitter, and I completely forgot about this. But House Marquee was developing a smaller game or whatever, a multiplayer game, and it got put on hold for a bigger project. So at the time, again, this was early 2020, didn't know much about it, but now we know what they were working on. Is the game Returnal, right? So with this AAA, right? What if Sony, right, with the ambition of AAA, is not simply saying, we're not going to deal with little publishers or indie publishers or single A or AA publishers. We're only going to deal with the big ones, right? What if it's not just that? What if they're encouraging everybody to think big? Like House Marquee. House Marquee was usually a smaller studio. They developed Resogun, Stardust, Next Machina, right? Smaller titles, right? From here, let me read this. Super Stardust and Resogun developer House Marquee is putting its in-development Battle Royale game, Stormdivers, on hold as it focuses all of its efforts on an unannounced project. In a post on the House Marquee website, CEO Iyari Kurinen, I apologize, calls that mystery game the developer's biggest and most ambitious title yet. Kurinen, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, said the game is being developed with a yet-to-be-announced partner and a team of about 80 people at House Marquee. So 80 people, that's a huge increase. Now we know who the partner is, right? Now we are focused on delivering our most ambitious and biggest game to date, putting every other project on hold, including the development of Stormdivers. Kurinen said, it is great that the whole company can come together to deliver this game, which will define the next evolution of House Marquee. Now we know who the partner is, Sony, and it's just about making big titles, big blockbuster titles, right? And that's what they're going for, right? Not just focusing on Naughty Dog, whatever, but if you're a developing studio and you're coming at Sony and say, hey, maybe we can work on projects, Sony wants to hear big. PlayStation wants to hear big. Jim Ryan wants big, all right? He wants more records, all right? So, okay, you're going to get some development stuff like that, but how do you really grow the output of AAAs? That's going to be the key, the output. If you want more records, if you want people like us to move from PS4 to PS5, then you got to deliver the content. Sony has to deliver the content. It can't just be 2-3 games a year. We got to look at 4, 5, 6, 7 more records. Listen to Kobe, right? More hits. Right? So what are some moves that Sony could potentially be doing or have already been doing to get this going? Well, I think the most common why everybody says is, and the number one thing, buy studios. Gotta buy studios. Gotta buy it all up, right? Number one is usually Square Enix. There's also talks of Blue Point, talk of Remedy and all that stuff, right? The problem with buying studios in of itself is a lot of studios are multi-platform studios, right? And Sony will be buying up a multi-platform studio and most likely use them just for the PlayStation 5, maybe PS5, PC. But for the most part, you take a studio that was built to put games on multiple platforms, and now you're shrinking their output down to just your platform, right? And that's not a good recipe for success in terms of profit, right? Because remember, when you buy the company, you're buying all the assets. You're buying everything. The baggage, all of it. You're taking it all, right? Whatever money they invested in multi-platform development, you're owning that as well. So now you're taking all these investments that the company put in for years, over years, to be a multi-platform developer, and you're buying it all up, and now you're shrinking them down. And what I mean by shrinking them down is not meant necessarily the size of the company, but the production and stuff like that, and the money revenue is being shrunk to just your platform. Usually that's not a good recipe for profit making, right? But it still could be possible. There's still one avenue approach. That's still one approach. I kind of like this approach. This one's about Naughty Dog. Wells, who's one of the co-presidents of the company, said the company was adding more hierarchy to its studio structure in an attempt to help its leads better manage their teams and also to combat departures of senior employees seeking career progression. The restructure also follows 2020 allegations of a crunch culture at the company. We did a lot of work at the end of The Last of Us 2. We made some pretty big changes, Wells said. We are adding more titles and hierarchy to our studio. We've always been trying to hold on to those garage days, like back in the days when I joined and I was the 14th employee, and try and maintain the nimbleness. But now we're 300 people in the studio and things have to change, right? We got principal employees now. We just promoted a bunch of VPs as well. We're adding more leads. Something that we traditionally done on productions in the past is our leads and directors will still be too hands-on to where they didn't have enough time to manage their teams and people. So we're freeing them up to do that. What that sounds like to me is Naughty Dog's restructuring, right? To try to attempt to tackle multiple projects, vice what they normally do is they focus everybody on this one game, and then a small team does pre-production on the next game, and then when this game finishes, now they merge everybody over, they start the whatever, pre-production, and then it just becomes boom, 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 right? Big game, little game, big game done, cut over, small team goes on to the next game, pre-production, finish big game, and it just goes on. Well, what if they don't need to do that no more, right? Neil Druckmann got promoted, right? So he's also co-president. He's co-president of Naughty Dog now. So he can oversee more projects and have the team leads, right? So he could have, 2 or 3 leads, and those leads have their teams, and they're making games at the same time. They're spread over them. And he's like slowly overseeing all these projects. Obviously, they're going to manage who comes out first. Maybe small resources shift on priority, right? But for the most part, if you can better manage and balance multiple projects around the same time, you will get more output of games. Instead of just one game being the main focus and then a little bit, then move over, That's, I think, a good way. What I like about that is you can apply that logic to all the studios Sony has, right? So Naughty Dog can have 2-3 teams. Santa Monica can have 2-3 teams. Sony Bend can have 2-3 teams. When you think about it, let's say if you have 3 teams that can make 3 games almost at the same time, Naughty Dog, that will be 3 games. Sony Bend, we know they're only working on 1 game, or supposedly, right? But let's say if they did have 3 games, right? So that would be 6 teams. Sucker Punch, that would be 9 teams. So it's Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Sony Bend, that's 9. Sucker Punch, that's 12. Who else we got? San Diego Studios, they're just focusing on baseball. Polyphony Digital, they'll just be focusing on the racing games. Maybe they'll make a Horizon clone and stuff like that. But overall, right? If you look at it, if you have teams and you grow teams that can make multiple projects, number 1, you're not absorbing baggage by buying third party. Number 2, they already have an established culture and identity and how would you say, a thrive and pride in their company, right? So you're just expanding the pride and the culture of it, right? The culture of Sucker Punch, the culture of Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and Sony Bend and stuff like that. right? That strategy could potentially lead to, you know, a higher output of AAA games. Right? The final thing is probably something that Sony is very good at, is nurturing deals with third-party and second-party relationships, especially second-party relationships. Sony does very well on nurturing second-party relationships. I mean, perfect example, look at Capcom. Somehow Sony found a way to keep Street Fighter V off of Xbox, right? Not saying that they'll be able to do it again, but they just find a way to get to the right people and get big AAA games and be like, hey, this is only staying on PlayStation. I think Sony, obviously, they're willing to have the game on PC just as long as it's not on the competitors' consoles, whether it's Nintendo Switch or Xbox, right? And Sony knows how to nurture that type of relationships with developers, with independent developers and stuff, and third party, and nurture that second party relationship. So there's multiple angles, right? This is clearly a win big. This is clearly swing for the fences strategy, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I personally like it, right? I'm not gonna lie, or I'm not gonna fraud. Like I'm not gonna pretend to be an outraged gamer on the internet. Like, oh my god, the indies are so important. What Sony's doing? Listen, I understand. You know, there are gamers who love indies. I understand some of those little indies could deliver big successes, like Fallout guys, right? I was called Fallout guys, and Roblox, and you know, there's other examples, right? Minecraft at a point, right, was a small indie. Okay, I get that, right? But I challenge you right now to be honest and look at your gamer tag or PSN ID. I challenge you to just be honest. You ain't gotta go on the internet and pretend to be a hero or whatever. Just be honest. Look at your PSN ID or your gamer tag, and look at the games that you've been buying and that you actually play and beat. Majority of us, those games are AAA games. Whether it's first party or second party or third party, if you look in your library, right, majority of us played the big AAA games. We beat the AAA games, even if they're not super popular. You know, whether it's like, you know, Jedi Fallen Order or something like that, Dishonored, you know, more often than not, a lot of us play those games. Now, I'm not knocking gamers that do play the indies, and some of you, right, I guarantee there are some of you that probably play more indies than AAA, right? There are some of you. I'm sure there are gamers that probably don't even like the AAA games, the AAA game industry, because some of you find it very generic, not satisfying and stuff like that, copy paste, and you know, many of you feel that way. But I think we can all admit that AAA games moves the platforms. That's what you see in the commercials. That's what gets the big budget for marketing, and that's why everyone across the spectrum in gaming talks about, whether you're a hardcore gamer or the biggest casual and anyone in between. Those big blockbuster AAAs dominate the conversation, right? And if Sony, just as I showed here, if this is their thing right here, if this is their goal, they're trying to make PS5 reach a level of success that they never delivered before, then they have to double down on the winning formula. That is Jim Ryan's goal with the PS5, to take it to a level of success that they never did before, right? They're trying to be the same beast, but they have to be a different animal, you know. Jim Ryan, as successful as the PS4 is, Jim Ryan cannot use the same exact formula as the PS4, because then that's just going to lead to PS4 success. And clearly, they want to sell more records. They want to be the same beast, but ultimately, they have to be a different animal to do it, especially in this landscape of gaming. So with that, let me know what you think of my hot take. Hit up the comment section. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. I hope you stick around. Hit the subscribe. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I have 60 Frames Don't Like podcast. I got a great, amazing people that attend. Optimus Code, J-Dub, J Barry, Craig. Everybody's going after Craig now, right? And then I usually get guests. I get surprise guests that pops in. A lot of Xbox-centric personalities that pop in. I got a lot of people that show up, right? Come join. I welcome you to join and check out the podcast, all right? Hit the like button. And for all you return subscribers, welcome back. I'm glad you're back. Let me know what you think about this. Hit me up in the comment section. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter, PorterRock77_. And I'm out of here. Until the next hot take, I'll see you guys later. Peace.